Hi farm friends, my name's Georgia from Grow My Goodness here in the beautiful Bay of Plenty, New Zealand. It's been a little while since I've done a video. We had that big storm and I got back into it, and then unfortunately it didn't last long. I got really sick and I had about 2 weeks where I didn't do any work in the garden at all. Luckily, I had my family out here, so they were able to carry on and continue going to the markets. But I had my first day back in the garden today. I got a lot done, so there's lots to talk about. So I think it's time for a garden update. Let's go. In my last video, I showed these sunflowers which were about this big, and now they have flowered. They're actually just about coming to the end of their time here in this bed. We have sold most of them. This is the Moulin Rouge variety, which is actually just this really stunning dark red colour. It is a branching variety, which is why we've still got all these flowers here. But they're pretty beautiful just to have up here in the garden. Hopefully some of these branches will grow a little bit longer. We can still continue to use these for bouquets. It's been a really interesting experience growing the sunflowers. So far we've learnt a lot and we're getting a lot better at growing them. We've managed to have a pretty good succession of flowers. I think we'll probably have another little gap now between these plants, and we've got another 2 beds planted. We are aiming to have those flowering around Mother's Day, so fingers crossed that works out perfectly. We're at the stage now where we are looking at ordering our sunflower seeds for next season, and there's already been a price increase. We're expecting sunflowers to be perhaps in high demand and short stock next season, because actually a lot of the world's sunflowers are grown in Ukraine. So we're trying to get in early and get our sunflower seeds. We've picked out a few varieties that we really like. My particular favourites are the Pro Cut White and the Pro Cut Orange. So just to give a little bit of context, it's the 15th of March today, which in New Zealand is late summer, early autumn. Of course, that equinox date on the 21st of March, when pretty much all over the world the day and the night are of equal length, and then here we'll start to see the days getting shorter, the nights getting longer, it's getting colder as we progress into winter. So heading into that season, I've been planting a few different things here. I have planted here purpurette onions. So these take about 60 days from direct sowing. We are on day 35, and I think this has been a really successful planting. I did try to plant these somewhere else, I think last year with no success, but they've come up really nicely here. So I think it was probably just a timing thing. Also, I interplanted them with some other crops, and here I just went for it, decided to do the whole bed. So I'm really excited for these. So we should see them in another month or so. Here we have done radishes and turnips. Now the radishes only take 30 days, and the turnips that we have, which are the Tokyo White Cross, they take about 50 days. So we did them together just, you know, to kind of as an experiment. We weren't sure what kind of numbers we were going to need, so we started off by doing half a bed of radishes, half a bed of turnips. The radishes are going really well. We've been selling these at market, and we've been selling out at market. So I've planted some more in another area. We'll talk about that soon, but I've moved into doing full beds of radishes because they're so popular. They're so much more popular than I expected. Personally, I haven't been a radish eater, but they're really popular and I quite like them. They're really nice. However, I've still got the problem in this area of the African black beetle. They're still here and they really love the turnips. So unfortunately, we haven't had a huge success on the turnips yet. I have planted turnips elsewhere in the garden and they haven't been as bad over in the second plot. They seem to be particularly bad in this area here. And also while we're here, this particular patch, it's a similar problem to what I had down there with the carrots. It's, you know, I think it's just still trying to get consistency with the soil here, because we haven't treated this area any differently to down here, but here things are looking beautiful. And then just up here, I mean, it's clearly not thriving here. So this bed is probably only just a year old now, so I know that it's going to take some time. It's going to take a few years before we start to see the growth getting really consistent and the crops consistently germinating and producing nice even rows of plants. So yeah, it was just interesting to me that this section here, it clearly needs some work. I've also been planting carrots. The particular variety that we are currently growing is the Samantha F1. This is the first bed that I've planted, so I can't say much about that particular kind of carrot, but I'm hoping it's going to be exactly what we are looking for. I read good things about it. As you can see in this bed, they've come up quite well, still a little bit inconsistent, a little bit patchy. I've also been planting some beetroot. I did direct sow this, which is perhaps a little bit controversial. I have heard a lot of market gardeners say, do not direct sow your beetroot. I had tried doing it in the glass house and transplanting it out, but I didn't get good results. It took a long time to germinate. It didn't seem to grow very well in the glass house. And then once it was transplanted, it didn't seem to like that either. So I just went for it and I did the direct sow, and it has actually worked really well for me. Again, it is a bit patchy. I'm not willing to say that that's because the beetroot was direct sown. I probably would be more likely to say that, you know, it's due to the inconsistencies of our soil at the moment, because everything's a little bit patchy. So I'm quite happy that it did come up. It's also come up really fast. So this beetroot takes around 55 days from direct sow, and it's on about nearly day 30 now, so we're probably about halfway there. It still looks pretty small, and we can probably expect it to take a little bit longer as the temperatures start to drop and as the days start to get a bit shorter. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really optimistic about direct sowing the beetroot. It probably came down to the temperatures and the timing of things, but it makes things a lot easier for me to be able to direct sow the beetroot than transplant hundreds and hundreds of tiny beetroots. So it's looking pretty good, and even up here it's actually looking a bit better. Yeah. So this particular variety of beetroot here is the Kestrel F1, which is just a nice red beetroot. Here I've planted some more carrots. So this is a succession. So these were done about a week and a half, 2 weeks later than the other bed of carrots, and some more purpleate onions. This is another direct sow of the radish and turnip. This is the next succession. So after we've finished here, these ones will be ready. I mean, these radishes, they're they're almost ready. These are probably a week or two away, and then the turnips here another 4 weeks. I don't know if you can see this, but there's a bit of diatomaceous earth sprinkled on here. So it's just as an experiment, we've put this on here to see if that will help with that black beetle. So the diatomaceous earth is it's a crushed up rock which essentially kills some insects. So we're going to give that a go and see if it has any impact on these black beetles. They don't seem to be as many of them down in this area, so I'm hoping that maybe we'll have some better turnips from this bed here. We've got another direct sow of carrots, the same variety, the Samantha F1s here. So that was everything that I got planted a couple of weeks ago, and then as I said, I had a couple of weeks off, and then I was back today. I got so much done. I planted 7 beds today. So down here I've done another bed of radish, a full bed of radish. I've done a full bed of our turnips. Here I've planted something that I have never even seen before. I've never eaten it, and it's kohlrabi. I don't know if you've heard much about kohlrabi. It seems to be popular in other areas of the world. I have direct sown it. I know that you can start it in the glass house. I was tossing up which way to do it, and from my research it seemed like frost was the determining factor there. So because there's no chance of frost until winter, it was fine for me to direct sow it. When I want to start them early spring, I'll probably start them in the glass house and plant them out after the last frost date. They do only take about 60 days though from direct sow to harvest. In the cooler temperatures, they're ideal for an autumn sow because we can let them get a little bit bigger. They won't try to flower, they won't get woody in the cooler temperature. So I think this is going to be good. It'll be really interesting to see how it does at markets, given I've never even seen it before. So I think this will be a really interesting one. Here we've got, this is just more radish and turnip that was done a few weeks ago. We've got our 2 beds of sunflowers. These weren't done that long ago, so these are the ones that we are hoping are going to be ready right around Mother's Day. Here I've done another bed of carrots. Here I've done another direct sow of beetroot. I've gone for a different beetroot. I'm doing the red and white beetroot. So looking forward to seeing how this does. I'm feeling really positive. I'm feeling optimistic. It's going to come up. While we're here, quick mention to the peppers. They're doing really well. They've recovered well after the storm. We lost a few peppers. They had a bit of wind burn. They're selling quite well at the markets now. And something that did happen with these peppers, I was really expecting yellow and red peppers. Some have started to turn red, but it's taken a long time. Summer's over and we mostly just got green peppers. We've been picking them as they are, and they taste lovely. Just nice and sweet, just like a capsicum, like a bell pepper, but I think something with a brighter, better colour, something that colours earlier, we'll probably be looking at for next season. I was also expecting the plants to be a bit bigger. Maybe they didn't like the soil, maybe we didn't water them enough, I'm not totally sure. We will probably increase our pepper production next season, probably do a few more beds. We just did the one to start off with to see how it went. And I'm glad that we did only do the 1 bed because now we've got things to think about for next season. 2 more beds here that I have sown today, which are both things that I have never grown before, and actually one thing that I've never even eaten before. So this here is rainbow beet, also known as rainbow chard. There's a couple of different things going on here with this one. I originally did starts in the glass house, which they came up okay. I think it's too hot in there for them, so I did plant these out, and then I've also direct sown a couple of rows around them. So there'll be a mix here, so we can see there's some already here. Those are the starts that I transplanted today, and then I've also done a direct sow in here. So I read that they can be direct sown. They don't like super hot temperatures, so I'm feeling really optimistic these will come up well. Here I have done spring onions. So they're a different onion to the purplettes. They are a white true spring onion, so they don't have a very big bulb at the bottom. They do take a little bit longer, 80 to 90 days. But I know that they're really popular, and this is something that I've eaten and used in cooking. So I'm feeling really good about the spring onions here, and I'm looking forward to trying the rainbow beets. So lots of planting going on, and still lots of planting to do. There's still quite a few more beds like the scabiosa and a bit of cosmos here, which it's doing really well, and it's just beautiful. So we're trying to hang on to this for as long as we can, but very soon this will be coming out. We are covering a lot. We're using our tarps to cover. We had a few beds that came up a little bit weedy, so we're trying to crop things out and then put that layer of compost on, and then covering things as well to make sure that we're killing off any of those weeds that might come up. So we've still got quite a few beds to crop out and plant. Probably this whole garden will be replanted within the next month. As the days get shorter after the 21st of March, things will become a lot slower to grow. We are lucky that we can grow through the winter, but for things to be able to be harvested during winter, we need to get them in as soon as possible. And then like some of those longer crops, getting them now, they can actually grow throughout winter and be harvested really early into the spring. It feels so good to be back out in the garden doing what I love. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel because it helps me out a lot. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Whoa. Yeah.